Hey guys, today's story is going to be a continuation of two previous stories involving a crappy DM and a crappy paladin. As I did in the last video of this series, for this particular story, I will leave the annotations with a link to the two previous videos. But let's get into it. And this is part 3. And the conclusion to the saga of this disaster D&D group. It might not be the last I tell about this group, though. I do have a few mini-stories that I was unable to find a place for, that also occurred with the same people. The cast of characters that we have are the DM, who this time is actually the ranger from the previous campaign. Though he is a decent player, he is absolutely terrible as a DM on the same level as the other one from the previous story. The Artificer, the absolute nightmare of a player who is obsessed with being OP and having all the best magic items, and causing conflict with others. He's the one that played the Paladin and Barbarian in the previous campaign. Now he's playing a human Artificer. The Ranger, the annoying guy who switches out characters every other session, who played the Bloodhunter and Cleric in the previous campaigns. Most recently, he played, I believe at least, a half-drow ranger, but I was losing track. The Paladin. This is the person that was playing the Gunslinger in the other campaign. He's not the worst player, but he's no longer innocent either. He's now playing a halfling paladin. We also have the Rogue, who is the younger sister of the Paladin. She's a new player, playing a multi-class Dragonborn Rogue Paladin. And then finally there's myself, who is playing a Drow Warlock. I was invited to join in Out of the Abyss campaign in the same small Discord server as the other game I was in, after the events of Part 1, but before the events of Part 2, if I recall correctly. The DM played the Ranger in the other campaign, and was one of the more mature and responsible players, so I thought it would be fine, despite the fact that some of the problem players from the previous game were in it too. He seemed more responsible than the DM of that game, and would probably learn from the mistakes made, especially since he tended to side with me when nonsense happened. I figured that if the problem players tried anything, he'd be quick to shut it down. Oh, how wrong I was. It started out fine enough, but it became clear that the DM wasn't always that prepared for encounters or decisions that we make. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and is entirely understandable, especially since I am not sure what his experience level was. However, it didn't take long before the problems started showing, which they did as soon as we got to the Dark Lake, if you are familiar with the module. The DM did not have any idea how to move the story forward, and basically left everything too wide open for us. He repeatedly asked us which direction we wanted to go, but we had no map, so we were essentially just wandering about aimlessly. For instance, "Where do you want to go?"
I don't know. Do we see signs of a town anywhere? Any places to rest?
"No, you don't. Do you want to go north, south, east, or west?" Whatever way opposite of where we came from, seeing as how we're being chased, I guess. I have no clue what direction that is, since we have no map, but away from there. I think he did not want to railroad us too much or something, but he ended up leaving us with no clue what to do. There were a few random encounters that were extremely easy and boring, because the DM had leveled us up way too fast, but had no idea how to alter difficulty levels. Scheduling was also very inconsistent. He'd randomly decide to run games on days we weren't originally scheduled to, sometimes only an hour or two before. So it was very common that the entire party would not be around. He also seemed to realize that we were not excited by this game. His solution was at first to, instead of giving us plot direction of any sort, to start rolling on some sort of random table once a session. The first time he did this, one of the party members got randomly disintegrated. Thankfully, it was one of the Ranger's previous characters, and since he changes characters constantly, he was not bothered by this. It was pretty commonplace for people to randomly decide to change characters for no real reason, besides being bored, and for the DM to allow this. Even though the ranger was the worst offender, everyone else would do this as well, to the point where my warlock was the only original party member from the first session. The rogue never actually switched characters, but she joined at a later time, so I was the only escaped prisoner from the Drow prison. Because of this, there was no opportunity for the party dynamics of any sort to form, and a lot of time was wasted by introducing new PCs. At one point, the paladin starts playing a new character, who he tells us is his character he plays in a different campaign on another server, and asks if he can apply experience from both campaigns to the same character, leveling her up twice as fast, and says the DM of that group okayed it. I tell the DM there's no way he should let him, and he doesn't. Things took a turn for the worse, though, when we arrived at this mysterious giant tavern that appeared out of nowhere in the middle of the Dark Lake. I was relieved to finally have some sort of plot direction. However, that relief was very short-lived. The DM pointed out a mysterious four-armed man in a hooded cloak sitting at a table, and told us that that guy was going to be important. First, though, we decided to talk to the barkeep and ask for directions. This, however, was interrupted by a massive horde of gnolls coming to invade. I have no clue where they came from, since we were in the middle of a lake. But whatever. We start fighting them, but it becomes clear to us that us being, I believe, level 5 at the time, there is no way we can kill all of them. Then the mysterious man stands up. He casts a spell and opens a portal, causing hundreds of magical weapons to rain down, instant killing all the gnolls. Here we meet the dreaded DMPC. The DM starts telling us about how he's a god, and he's level 60, or something along those lines. I'm not sure if any one of us were particularly interested, and I'm not a fan of impossible encounters that get solved because of Deus Ex Machina. We leave soon after, and after way more tedious and easy random encounters, and going in circles, we arrive in the Kuo-Tua village, Slupadop. When we get there, we find a very familiar merchant. It's the DMPC, telling us that he sells everything imaginable. Of course, I ask for a map of the Dark Lake region, which I buy for around 10 gold. The artificer then asks for a sphere of annihilation, and I immediately tell the GM, no, we're level 6, and he has a history of abusing magic items. You are not going to sell him this. The DM tells me not to worry, and he knows, and says it's on sale for 5,000 platinum. We're not close to being able to afford that, so all seems to be good. The rogue realizes that the weapon she has been fighting with, a whip, hasn't been the greatest weapon for her build, and asks for something stronger. Since she is new to the game, she knows very little about the types of weapons. She and the DMPC talk for at least an hour and a half about what all the weapons he's selling are, including some very powerful magic ones we can't afford, including the super OP homebrew ones. In what must be the most drawn-out, boring session of D&D I have ever played. She's having major trouble deciding on it. I think Paladin finally helps her pick out a +1 rapier or something, which I really wish he could have done outside of game time. Everything else in the village goes just fine, apart from the ranger's character deciding to fight a demigorgon when the rest of us escape and immediately getting killed. The encounters with the Kuo-Tua were fun, and I figured that the game was going to start to pick up speed. Now, to fast forward a little bit, we're in the Dwergar city of Brackelstug now, and mostly doing random side things like riddle challenges with the DMPC who keeps appearing everywhere at random. In real life time, it's now the holiday season, and I have lots of prior engagements. Due to this, and the random and prompt scheduling of the games, I have to unfortunately miss 3 consecutive sessions in a row. The group told me it was okay and not to worry about it, and when I finally showed back up, they were happy I was back. I asked for a recap of what all I missed. Before I left, they decided to go on a little side quest to get some extra gold, and I was hoping that I didn't miss out on too much. The DM then proceeds to tell me that during said side quest, they got a little bit derailed, and ended up chilling with the DMPC in a pocket dimension for a year. That's right, I missed an entire year of in-game time over 3 sessions. I'm pretty worried that there's no way I'm going to be able to catch up, and the DM reassures me that they didn't actually do much during that whole year. Now, the group is heading back to Gracklestug, which the Demigorgon had rampaged through during the year that we were gone. The city is a complete mess, and there are thousands of Dwergar waiting right inside its gates to just murder us, since they somehow know exactly who we are. At this point, we're now level 8, and it's looking to be yet another unwinnable encounter where we need to be saved by the DMPC. Instead, the Artificer casts the spell Wish, and literally Thanos snaps half the Dwergar out of existence. I am in stunned silence for a moment, and ask the DM, "What? We can't use Wish at this level?" The DM responds with, "It's okay. I only gave him 1, and made him promise not to use it to get you guys out of the Underdark, or kill the Demigorgon. Besides, it doesn't matter anyway, because there are still thousands of Dwergar, and now they're even more angry with you after seeing what the Artificer just did." And the Artificer then says that he casts the spell Teleport on the entire party except for himself, sending us back to the Ranger's hut, while he battles the Dwergar to the death, repeatedly casting the spells Finger of Death and Disintegrate. He ends up dying, and I don't remember how. On the bright side, at least he didn't try to kill the party. "Excuse me, what?" I asked the DM, extremely irritated. "Why in the world does he have this many uses of these spells at level 8, or any uses at all? This is ridiculous. Why are you letting him do this?" "I bought the eye and hand of Vecna," the Artificer tells me. Did I hear that right? Not only was he a player with a history of demanding and then abusing extremely powerful magic items that hurt party members, being allowed to have such powerful items, but that he was able to just buy them? These are items campaigns are literally written around. They aren't just random treasure. The DM explains to me that on the first session I was not able to be there. He rolled on the random daily effects table, which ended up giving the Artificer a curse, where he vomits up gold coins every day. Over the course of that whole year, in the pocket dimension with the DMPC, he accumulates enough gold to buy any magic item in the game, since the DMPC is a god and can sell anything to anyone. I tell the DM that I thought we were done with this thing where we just throw out unnecessary OP magic items to everyone, and the DM says that he made a mistake and that it wouldn't happen again, and that he's sorry. But I don't really care. It's clear by now that he can't learn from past mistakes, like witnessing all the insanity that went down in the other campaign. I'm awkwardly quiet for the rest of the session. The next things that happen are the DMPC showing up with an alternate universe version of the Artificer, who is the exact same character, with no memories of us, and without the gold vomit curse, and the eye and hand of Vecna. The DM tells us, essentially, that the plot demands we all go back to Gracklestug, and that the DMPC will teleport us there, and that we have to finish up there before we can go to the next area. If the DMPC is such a powerful god, I don't see why he can't just drop us all on the other side of the city. But whatever. Before we do that, the Paladin asks if he could have a Hammer of Thunderbolts, saying,
"It will be a halfling-sized Hammer of Thunderbolts, so it will do less damage. Plus, I'll permanently give up 2 of my second-level spell slots for it. Please?"
He agrees. So much for that apology. I don't even protest. I'm just too exhausted from all the craziness, and by now, I know I'm going to quit the game. After the game is over, I tell the DM that I'm quitting the campaign. He tells me that he figured I would be, and he apologizes again. He finds a new player to replace me the day after. They have no idea what they've gotten themselves into. that's for sure. I silently leave the server a few days later. Possible happy ending for me, though. I found a new campaign for my necromancer to join. We had a session 0 and the DMing group seemed great, and the first session is planned for this Friday. Hopefully I'll be able to find a new group for my warlock as well. Well guys, I don't really have much to say to this beyond things that are fairly obvious, so I won't be saying them. The only thing I can really think of to really say is it's a good thing that the OP was able to find a new game to play in, and seemingly will fit in better there.
But in any case, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have a story that you'd like me to narrate, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.